Hi, my name is Andrzej Kawalec. I head up Cybersecurity for Vodafone Business. Thank you for joining us for this discussion. At Vodafone Business, we pride ourselves on serving the small to mid-sized business community. Now, we secure 20% of the world's internet traffic and harness insights from our 5 million customers. And we bring you the most relevant and accessible advice and solutions. Along with our partners, we protect thousands of organizations. As part of Cyber Awareness Month, we're partnered with Omnissa to spotlight the importance of keeping data safe. Not only is this critical for compliance and regulatory reasons, but it's the foundation of building trust with your customers. They need to know you're keeping their data safe and their experiences secure. I'm absolutely overjoyed to introduce Spencer Pitts, who's Partner CTO and Senior Director for EMEA Omnissa. Spencer, lovely to see you. So for many organizations, protecting data might sound like a complicated thing. Could you just demystify that for us?
So I always like to think of it a little bit like what you would do in your personal life. So think about data as being your, I was about to say crown jewels, but the stuff inside your house. You want to make sure that when you leave the house, you lock the doors. You want to make sure that you've got maybe alarms. And it's kind of very similar in the way that I think the customers should think about their data. Are you making sure that you trust your users accessing the applications? Do you know about the devices they're using? So it's very similar in that regard as well. So we need to make sure that people have done the necessaries of what I call cyber hygiene, making sure all those doors are locked and making sure that they know who's coming into their house as and when.
So keep an eye on your data, know what's really important to you, and then really try to think about how you'd protect that.
Indeed, yeah.
So if you know what your crown jewels are, your data, and you're understanding how it's used by your employees, these new regulations that are coming into force across Europe, how do they change that response?
So organizations really need to think about a couple of things in the directive. One of them, which is they have to be shown to be doing proactive security, hygiene, if you like. So they need to make sure that they understand the devices, that they're proactively secure. But they also need to understand that if there is some kind of breach or an incident, that they can be very thorough in their reporting. They can demonstrate what's happened with, transparency in effect.
So at its heart, the new EU directive is asking people to put in place those controls, and then if or when something happens, they have to be very clear and report that to the authorities.
Indeed, they do. Very, very transparent.
So that's the theory of the regulations. If we think about that in practical terms, and I'm an SME, what would that mean if I was attacked today, say?
Well, you'd need to be seen to have done something about it first of all, whether you've implemented a process to make sure you know about your devices, or a tool or some description that understands what your devices are, and are they up to the latest levels? Are they patched and ready to be secured? And then again, if there is a breach, you need to be able to have demonstrated you have some kind of tool or some kind of reporting mechanism that can tell you exactly where the breach happened, why, and then what the data is that's been affected.
So it's very similar to, I need to sort of prove that I had locks on my doors and windows, and then when I'm broken into, actually I need to be able to show and prove what was stolen.
Yeah, and very personal thing, recently I had a house incident. I had to prove to the insurance company that I'd gone through the due diligence, first of all, of getting the right contractor in, first of all. Otherwise they wouldn't have paid out. And in a weird way, it's very, very similar. You need to be able to have demonstrated you've done all the things possible, so it wasn't your fault that you then got attacked, in effect.
And one of those, as you say, one of those big questions that the regulators and the authorities will often ask is, was any customer data lost in this breach? And I think that's something that we really need to help people answer that question.
Yeah, they need to have proven that they've done the right thing, but if it did actually get breached or customer data was stolen, you need to be very explicit about what data was stolen and potentially what the impact is as well, so that they can inform you and I as end customers ultimately.
So I guess now we know we're being targeted, we're being attacked, our data could and will be stolen, and then we need to report that and take the right controls and measures, and we need to report that stuff, which is all we're admiring the problem a little bit. Can you give us a sort of practical insight about actually how can I go about doing that?
Okay, so there's some right ways and some wrong ways. You could manually go around and make sure all those devices are secure, got the right patches. You could hope that users phone you up and tell you that they've had an incident, but reality tells otherwise. So best way to do this is to invest in some kind of tool sets. There's a lot of tools that are out there, some more sort of geared towards the PC, but on the mobile side, I think that's an underlooked area, and there's definitely some great tooling out there that can make sure that device is managed. You can know where it is, it's protected, and then of course if there is an incident, it will then tell you what's gone on and then report back to the right people what the nature of the incident is. So number one, tool sets. They've evolved massively and they're very, very geared towards the modern world, so go and invest in a tool.
So what we're sort of learning a little bit is that those mobile protection has been a gap for a while. Don't leave it up to chance, don't hope that it's going to be okay or that your employees or your users are going to do the right thing. Put a central system in place that can manage and secure those devices, and then in the event of an attack, it's going to help you respond in real time.
Agreed. It's not just about the PC anymore. It's great, we look after those, but it's the mobile now. That's the new sort of hunting ground. It's been, like you said, overlooked, and tools have rapidly evolved, and there's some great ones out there that allow you to do exactly what you just said.
So whilst there is a clear and present danger, there's actually some tools that can really help. Now, again, where do I start? What would you suggest the first three things that I should do?
So I think number one, start with what are your key assets? So where are they? Where they reside? What's important? So assess your risk in effect. That's number one. Number two would be make sure that you're looking after your devices and you have them patched. A little bit like making sure you've got the latest and greatest at home in terms of security. You don't want old locks. Same thing with your devices. Make sure they're regularly patched and up to date. New software upgrades, make sure they're done as well. And number three would be, if you haven't done so already, go and invest in those tools, because they will tell you potentially where the devices are. They will tell you what's going on those devices. And they will tell you things like if there is an upgrade that they need to be done, and they will allow you to go and do it very quickly. And that's the key here, is responding in real time as well. So they would be my three main things to go and do straight away if you haven't already.
That's absolutely great, thank you. So first of all, assess your risks, understand what you've got. Protect the devices,
yep.
And then put in place something that's going to help you manage them. And I guess there's always the final thing, which is actually all these devices are used by people. So think very carefully about awareness, about educating your employees, about them understanding those risks as well, because I think we talk about employees as your first line of defense, not your weakness. And I think the more we can internalize that, the better we'll be.
Agreed. Yeah, your people, the way they use devices, ultimately they've got to get their job done. If you can make it easier for them to do that, but keep them secure at the same time, everybody is happy.
Thank you, Spencer. Amazing insight and hugely, hugely helpful. And thank you for watching. We've got a lot more content coming during Cyber Awareness Month. It's been a pleasure to spend some time with you, and look forward to seeing you soon.